Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. We're here in Brookshire County on our passenger line into Salt Lake City, and in this video we'll be focusing on getting highway connections built between the cities in this area. And so to start off this highway, we're going to start here in Portland, and I think we're going to start out here by the edge of where our main road ended, and then we'll follow along these farms. I'm not sure what we'll do with this corner as the elevation changes, so we might end up doing a tunnel and cutting that corner short, but we'll figure out what we'll end up doing here when we get there. And then we'll continue on all the way over to Houston, where we'll come in and follow along this hillside, and we'll leave that open as an extension towards Tacoma when we do end up getting there. And then as for our connection to Salt Lake City, we'll probably try to get that somewhere here where we sort of have the shortest span of this river that you can see. We don't really have a better spot to cross, so I think right here we could either choose to do a tunnel or a bridge. This is another thing that we might just end up doing as we get to it, but I don't think it's too unrealistic to do either. So we'll probably end up with a bridge, and then connecting that into Salt Lake City. Getting it into that area is going to be tricky because I'm not too sure how we want to directly connect, or where we want to connect this highway into Salt Lake City. So I think for now we'll just connect it to the main road, and we're not going to worry too much about what we do there. But that will be something that we take a look at eventually. Alright, and so with that, let's get on with our highway. We'll start here in Portland, extend this main road, and then we will be back once all of that is finished. All right, and just as a quick little update, here's the beginning of our highway in Portland. We have this interchange here, which I think came out pretty all right for where it is and what it is. You can see out in the distance it follows the farms, and then we have this little turnaround spot at the end of it here, because I'm not too sure what we want to do here heading towards Allentown with all this space. It sort of dips down into this valley, and that'll give us sort of an unrealistically tall bridge in the area, so I'm not sure if I want to curve it around the valley and then tunnel under, or go around, or just follow the land up. But I think this is a good stopping point on this end, and then we can figure out what we'll do here later on. And so let's take a closer look at this highway. So you can see here we follow parallel along the farms, and then we shift over and we go into a tunnel. I decided a tunnel would probably be best for this situation. And then we come out here where we will connect to this rural road out by our food processing plant, and we have this nice bridge that comes across. I'm not too sure how I feel about it. It feels a little tall, and I'm not a huge fan of this section right here, how it curves down, but you can see it comes down, follows along the base of the hill here. We tried to keep it as straight as possible for most part. And then here's where our interchange will be to Salt Lake City. But moving on, we continue to stay pretty low, and then we bridge over these water areas wherever we can. And then again, just following what little land we have all the way over until we get to Houston here, where we have extended our main roads, and these will be where we connect up or make our connection to Houston here. Alright, so now we're going to finish up our interchanges by the food processing plant and Houston, and then we'll finish off here with this interchange connection to Salt Lake City, and then that will pretty much be all for this video. So we'll get on that quick, and then we will be right back. Alright, now we are back here. You can see our interchange that we made to head over to Salt Lake City. It's a bit bigger than we initially intended, but I think it came out really well. You can see just how high we had to get some of these bridges to get this to work. But overall, in the end, I think it came out quite nice, and this looks pretty realistic given its size. Now, one thing I want to do is check the destinations layer and see if people are using it yet. And we can see that there are people moving between Houston and Salt Lake City. And we just started this, so the demand is pretty low at the moment, but we can already see it's starting to rise. Now, that's probably coming from, hopefully, this area of Houston, the area closer to where the highway is, and then in Salt Lake City, the area closer to the highway on that side. Hopefully it's not competing too much with where our train stations are, but hopefully over time, as our trains get faster, we won't be competing as much, or at least we won't be driving away as much transportation on our trains. And then over here in Portland, unfortunately we don't have any traffic just yet, but I'm sure we'll just need time for that demand to build. Now over here in Houston, you can see our on and off ramps. We can see a car getting on now, so that's exciting to see. And then real quick, let's just take a look and see what it looks like driving on the highway here. This car is obviously going to be heading into Salt Lake City, but you can see coming up on this interchange, it'll merge over and take that exit. I'm not a huge fan of how the game handles these on and off ramps. Unfortunately, we have to sort of completely separate it from the highway. But I think, again, overall, what we came up with was pretty good, so I'm okay to leave it like that. And then we can take a look here in Salt Lake City at our machines, and we can see we are getting a good amount of machines coming into Salt Lake City, so maybe we are bringing in a lot more than I thought we would be. We can check here some of these boats. They are bringing a full load of machines per boat. These still need to be evened out across the line a bit more, but if we look at the rate, it says it's at a rate of 250, so I guess we can take that number as it is. I didn't believe it at first, but I guess that is what we're actually bringing in based on those numbers, and hopefully over time it will earn us money. We can take a look here and see we do earn money, but this line is still, of course, getting up and running and a little bit more consistent. So I think once we get a few more boats and a bit more consistency, we might be able to see more profit coming in. And then on the flip side, we could also probably send some goods on the return trip to Allentown or maybe even Pittsburgh, but that'll be a little tricky as specifically Pittsburgh is a bit farther away. But that's just an idea for farther out in the future. Alright, and so with that, let's take a closer look at what we've done in this video, and then when we come back, we'll talk about next steps and some future projects that we can work on. Alright, and so now that we're back, our obvious first next step is figuring out what we want to do here in Salt Lake City. So getting this interchange right over our main road here. I'm not too sure how I want to do that, but we'll obviously figure that out. I think we'll keep it as a bridge and go over, and then we'd follow along here, and we can maybe bring this highway up along the base of the hill and serve maybe a neighborhood out up that way in Salt Lake City. Another thing I want to do is clean up some of these interchanges. So here, getting these on and off ramps to look really good, get some really fine detail in there. And then over here in Portland, I want to maybe see if we can make this interchange a little better. I'm not a huge fan of the roads and how they look. So here you can see we sort of get this turning lane, which isn't needed, but the game thinks it's needed. I'm just not a huge fan of how the game treats these roads, but we'll try to make that look a little bit better at some point in the future. But I think overall the way that this came out does work pretty well. And so I think with that, we're going to end this video off here. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.